Seeing no questions?
Governor, until last week, New York was the only state in the nation that hadn't sent out billions of rent relief to people in need. Only a dozen New Yorkers got help last Monday. How many are going to get help this week? Who's accountable for the slow glitch-plagued rollout? And what will you do to get the money out before the moratorium lifts or the Fed shift money to New York money to a state with a better program? And also, Governor, why is your office calling the AG's probe politically motivated when many of your allies have called for people to support her integrity? And lastly, Governor, every day in your press release, you tell New Yorkers that the total COVID death count is about 43,000 people. But death certificate data that you send to the feds show that 54,000 people have died of COVID. Why aren't you sharing the more accurate, higher figure with New Yorkers? So just summary, it was rent relief.
Yeah, no, I got what it was. That's what my job is, a joy, isn't it? None of the questions are leading, by the way. On the rent relief, you're not accurate about all states. The rent relief funding will go out. It'll go out by August 31st, which is when we have a moratorium in this state. That says nobody can be evicted until August 31st for non-payment of rent. And it will go out by then, so nobody will be affected. There's also a balance here. You want to get the money out the door right away. We went through this last year with unemployment benefits. But you want to make sure you give the money to the people who need it most, and there's no fraud and there's no scam. Otherwise, I'll get a question. Same person will ask me a question in 3 weeks. How did so many people receive funding when they were ineligible? Why didn't you check? Why didn't you take your time and make sure that there was no fraud? The program has guidelines. People have to follow the guidelines. We have to make sure the money goes to the people who need it most. We're going to start with funding the poorest tenants and then work our way up, which we think is fair. And the funding will be out by August 31st. Let me mention the Department of Justice announced over the weekend that they were not investigating New York State and other states for nursing home deaths. I don't know if you caught this, but last year in the middle of the campaign, President Trump was saying he was saying a lot of things. COVID is not a problem. COVID isn't real. COVID's going to be gone by Easter. Don't worry, it's just a Democratic conspiracy. And then he shifted to COVID is only a problem because Democratic governors mishandled it. And he pointed to deaths in nursing homes, which was a particular problem across the nation, and said, well, the Democratic governors caused deaths in nursing homes. That was his political narrative. They then started an investigation with the Department of Justice against 4 Democratic states and 4 Democratic governors during the Republican National Convention, which I'm sure was a coincidence, to make this point. And the Department of Justice announced an investigation, New York, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, 4 Democratic states, 4 Democratic governors, and that they were going to investigate us for causing deaths in nursing homes. The political environment has gotten so toxic in this country, so toxic, so mean. It was an outrageous allegation. New York followed the CDC guidance. CDC is a federal agency that's supposed to know what they're talking about in terms of health. We followed the CDC guidance when it came to how we handled people in nursing homes and when they went to a hospital, when they were brought back to the nursing home. Second, by the number of deaths as a percentage, number of nursing home deaths as a percentage, New York is number 31 in the country. We're not even near the top in terms of percentage of deaths in nursing homes. Why New York? Except that it was all politically motivated. And the Department of Justice announced this week weekend that they're not investigating those states. Of course, this was political hyperbole, and of course, this fed into the politics of the time. Democratic governors caused COVID. President had nothing to do with anything. But this kind of toxic politics is bad. First of all, people lose trust in the system and in government. Department of Justice is supposed to be the Department of Justice. It's not supposed to be a political operation. It's not supposed to be you investigate political enemies. You call up the Attorney General and say, I want you to start this investigation against my political enemies. Right? People lose faith in the integrity of the system. Second, to say to people who lost a loved one in a nursing home, it could have been prevented. It was a mistake by government bureaucrats. That's why your loved one died. How cruel. How cruel. You lose a loved one in a nursing home. I lost my father. You say to yourself, why God? Why did you take him, such a good man? And then they suggest, well, maybe your loved one didn't have to die. It was a government mistake. How mean to do to the families who lost a loved one in a nursing home. And third, what we should have been talking about was what happened and how do we learn from it so it doesn't happen again. How did COVID get into the nursing homes? Why didn't they have enough PPE? Why didn't we have enough tests? Why didn't we have enough swabs? Learn the lesson because it's going to happen again. But it was politics. It was toxic politics. It violated the basic concept of justice in this nation. And it did a lot of harm and a lot of damage. And it went on too long. This went on for like a year until finally the Department of Justice dismissed it. In general, with the AG's review, let the process continue. Let the facts come out. I'm very eager to get the facts to the people of this state. And I think when they hear the actual facts of what happened and how the situation has been handled, I think they're going to be shocked. Shocked. Because at the end of the day, the truth wins and facts win. And then I don't care what your bias, what you're a conservative reporter, you're a liberal reporter, facts trump, pardon the pun, ideology. And I am eager for the truth to come out here, and New Yorkers will be shocked. Any other questions?